Welcome to Swolehammer. Even though we love the frantic action of Warcry and the skirmish gameplay of Kill Team, there's something to be said about fielding a big army. Hence why I started Starting Sigmar. For whoever is new to the channel or series, the mission of these videos are to help new players make a fun and efficient army from a specific faction, rounding out to a 1,000-point list, which is the lowest tier of competitive play. We also want to make it easy to acquire these items and enjoyable to hobby with. The criteria are as follows. We avoid making lists with repeat models. Models need to be easily accessible either from a Games Workshop store or Amazon. I like to support local, but sometimes prices can't be beat online. All models suggested are in plastic, and we only focus on armies with the current edition's battle tomes. We're in the 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar. Some armies still only have their 2nd edition rules, and I don't want to do videos on them until they get their new rules because the videos will go out of date quicker. So join me as we plunge into the plague-ridden Nurgle. So why be a worshipper of the plague god? If you want to be the slow, creeping death that dismantles enemies by outlasting them, having grotesque, sickly armies that are fun and beginner friendly to paint, while also touting some of the silliest comedic flavor you'll find in the whole game, then you are in the right spot. Also, as far as the 4 major chaos gods are concerned, Nurgle actually has a lot of variety, both in units from small harassing Nurglings to surprisingly fast plague drones. You can have a lot of depth with the list building. So again, my sweet spot for chaos is showing, and I have 2 lists for you today. This first list is a budget list. If you just want to get into Nurgle as quickly and as cheaply as possible, then this is what you want to buy. While I'm not a huge fan of it, the Nurgle Vanguard box will get you an assortment of units that you will use, depending on whether you go mortals or demons. While I'm not a fan of the mixed selection because there's no real synergy between mortals and demons, I do appreciate that they have really good units in the box. Then next, you buy the Rotbringer Sorcerer, the new sculpt for an old model, and this will just give you some magic punch in your list. This rounds out your list perfectly, or is an extremely cheap buy for $138. That's all you need to get into Nurgle if you want to. However, with this next list, let's say you just don't care about spending more money and you want a more focused list. This is actually a list I currently use for Nurgle demons when I play them. We want big models and we want them now. The Great Unclean One. This is the model that actually got me interested in Warhammer in the beginning, and so I'm starting this list off with him. Next up is a box of Plague Bearers, your typical Nurgle infantry for demons, and also 2 boxes of Beasts of Nurgle. Now this will make sense when we get to the list building, but these boxes, while expensive, are very good in your army, especially, like I said, if you're running demons. And last but not least, the Sloppity Bile Piper. Very fun hero unit and synergizes well with your demon army. As I prefaced before, this list is way more expensive, clocking in at around $250. However, I made sure these are all items that you can buy online for a discounted rate from MSRP. So while it is a lot more, if you want demons, if you want that big centerpiece in your list, this is the list I did go with and enjoyed. If you can find the old Start Collecting Nurgle Demons box, that is also a very good buy. It's just because of the Vanguard box, it got cycled out of production and it's a lot of scalpers are up in the prices on that. If you can find it at LGS, definitely grab that if you're interested in demons and you can swap out some of the options in this list. So on to the lists themselves. The mixed Nurgle list, we're doing the subfaction as Drowned Men, just so the Lord of Afflictions and the Puskull Blightlord can get that extra pregame move, which is just really clutch and helps with your slow army. As for the rest of it, like I said, the Vanguard box is a weird decision on Games Workshop's part. Don't get me wrong, all the models in here are good on their own, but the idea of a mixed Mortals Demons list just doesn't have clear synergies, except in specific cases. Either way, the Spoilpox will support the Plague Bearers, the Future Blight Kings will just sit on objective and not get moved off of it, and you'll have fun spells to cast with your Rotbringer Sorcerer, leading you to 985 points of the quickest and one of the cheapest ways just to hit an 1,000-point army in Age of Sigmar. Now onto my list of choice, the Nurgle Demons list. The Befouling Host is very good for a summoning-based army. You get a second Feculent Narwhal, which you can play this army easily without having one, but you probably want to get one at some point. As for the list itself, the Great Unclean One will be your general. Insanely hard to kill, especially in 1,000 points, and slow, but when he gets into combat, he absolutely will slap anything off the board. The Sloppity Bile Paper is kind of just a more flexible utility piece than Spoil Box is in the Vanguard box. Just being able to buff a single Nurgle demon unit, not just Plague Bearers, is really clutch in some circumstances. For the battle line, Beasts of Nurgle become battle line in Befouling Hosts. And as I said, when playing Nurgle demons, Beasts of Nurgle are probably my favorite unit, honestly. These disease-covered doggos can run and charge in a single turn and do damage when charging. So, I mean, like, there's just a lot of utility with them. And they also have a better save and 8 wounds. I mean, just really fun harassment units to have. Lastly, your Plague Bearers will probably sit on a back objective or near Sloppity and just kind of get buffs or prevent pile-ins from your enemy. Rounding out this list, like I said, Creeping Death, slow yet effective kind of play style. While more expensive, it's also something that I've played personally to a large extent and have had a lot of fun with. Not helping with that expense is that since this is a summoning list and you can have one of your Beasts of Nurgle that died come back as a different unit using summoning points, you might want to invest in something like Nurglings or something like that because they're just a good thing to be able to summon. And while, again, the cost is a thing, is also kind of upended by the fact that while I don't play 40k anymore, you can use 100% of these units in Warhammer 40k as well. So double benefit there. And that's the list. If you have any other 3rd edition battle tomes you'd like to see for Starting Sigmar, let me know in the comments. And just let me know what you think of these lists in general. I always read them and love to respond to them and help out in any way, shape, or form. As always, this is Rafiq with Swolehammer. Stay swole.